What's a podcast? I like your show.
How did I get here? Welcome to the Shipe Sports Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Shipe Sports Talk Show. I am your host, Matthew Shipe, joined always by my co-host and producer, Paul.
What's a podcast?
How's it going? Sorry.
Going good. How you doing, Paul?
Good. I just got to turn this down. All right, there we go. Perfect.
All right. Joined next to me by our new co-host, Chris. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
And across from me is Christian, another new co-host. How you doing, Christian?
What's going on, man?
Welcome back after missing 2 weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
We're back on the air after last week. Sorry we were off the air, but I had to work midnights at my job. That's the price you pay when you're a supervisor. So,
Hey.
you know, just working out.
Do what you gotta do, man.
All right, so today on the show is we're going to be debuting our new basketball segment. We will be talking fantasy football as always, our Start 'em Up fantasy segment. And then we're going to take a break like always and come back with our contender or pretender segment. Basically, we're going to go through all the division leaders and tell you if they're still going to be there or not. We're going to list some midseason awards out, MVP, Offense, Defensive Player of the Year, and the Rookie of the Year. And then after that, we're going to review the Redskins' first half, judge maybe how they're doing so far. And then we're going to give you their best case finish and their worst case scenario. So we're going to go over that a little bit. And also maybe talk about, some of the games up this week. And we have some pretty big matchup this week. And you got Dallas against, Seattle. You have Pittsburgh against Cincinnati. So really good games this week. So let's get right into it. And the basketball segment, I'm going to hand it over to Cristian Riveria. So, Christian, it's all you, buddy.
All right, so like Matt said, we're gonna start a new segment. Hopefully, we can do this either every weekly or maybe bi-weekly. We'll see how it works. Pretty much, it's gonna be called the N1 segment. We're gonna be doing a lot of NBA talk, mainly Washington Wizards, and a lot of the headlining. Obviously big names: Kobe, LeBron, Kevin Durant, and with Kevin Durant wanting to come to DC, that's going to be a big year this year to see where that goes out.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's going to be a big offseason.
Honestly, I don't think he's coming, but I would love to see him come.
We'll see. So without further ado, we're going to get into this segment. We're talking about the Wizards. Last season, they finished fifth in the East, losing to the Hawks in the playoff second round. I'm sorry. But I think an even bigger loss last offseason was Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
Which I think we can all agree was possibly one of the most clutch players in the NBA last season, hitting a couple game winners for the Wizards in the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting this year to see how Otto Porter takes that role. He's in the starting lineup now. He's going to play the 3 now. So I want to break down the top 5 of the Wizards. In the backcourt, we have John Wall and Bradley Beal. No need to explain who they are. I think everybody knows who they are. John Wall coming off of his second All-Star season, first one starting, so he got the top votes in the East as far as that goes. I think he made a jump from being a good player to a great player. I think he's definitely one of the top point guards in the league. Hasn't made that top player as far as Kevin Durant, LeBron, or even Carmelo goes. But I feel like if he ups his scoring up a little bit, maybe up to 20 points a game, and keeps that 10 assists per game number going on, I think he'll definitely make that Chris Paul level where he'll be viewed as arguably one of the top players in the game. He talked about him trying to have a MVP season. You don't normally like to hear that from players. We heard RG3 say that. He wanted to be he thought he was the best player in the league. But I like the confidence. He's shown that he's definitely an all-star caliber kind of player. And, with last year averaging 17 points and 10 assists, you can't ask for too much more, but you're hoping he makes that extra push. Bradley Beal last season averaged 15-3, which isn't a great number, but he definitely showed up in the playoffs when it mattered, averaging over 20 points a game. I think this is the year where he makes the push that John Wall made a year or two ago into becoming a great player, not necessarily a all-star, a superstar player, but definitely a great player. Hopefully, scoring somewhere between 20 and 23 points a game. I think he's definitely gonna make that jump there. A couple question marks in the starting 5 is gonna be Otto Porter. I believe his 3rd year in the league. Gonna be replacing Paul Pierce. A lot of things that people say about Otto Porter is he's young, he's a little scared when it comes to playing. I think this year in the preseason we've seen him a little bit more comfortable. He has a starting role now, so he has to man up and really take control. I think he's looking a little bit more comfortable out there. We'll see how it goes, though. Fortunately, it's a long season, so we're going to see how it goes. I think he didn't have that great of a game last night. And also, another player who's going to be starting for the first time on the Wizards is Chris Humphries, who's going to be starting over Nene, which I think is a great move. Exactly. Nice little clap there.
He got only 1 point last night. What was he, 0 for 6?
Oh, man.
Nene's done.
Look,
He's old. He's old.
I hate Nene. I really do hate Nene, and I hope some way in the season we just release him. But anyways.
I'd rather almost put Jared Dudley there and just play a stretch forward Jared Dudley once he comes back. I mean, you watched Nene in the playoffs last year, and it was dreadful.
It was horrible. It was horrible. He had, I believe, maybe one decent game, and the rest were absolutely horrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
To the point where he cost the team a lot of wins in the postseason. Chris Humphries is a very slept-on player. I'm a big fan of Chris Humphries. I think he can score, he can play defense, he can get rebounds, and he's definitely a hustle player, which is what you need on the Wizards right now with that whole little lineup that they have. And of course you have Marcin Gortat, who great big man. I think he's gonna do what he always does. He's gonna get rebounds and he's gonna score somewhere between it's between 12 and 15 points a game. But he's gonna definitely do a pretty decent job there. Wizards opened up the season last night. They got the win, which is all that really matters. But I was a little concerned with the turnovers that they had. Way too many turnovers. John Wall had 6 turnovers. He let me see. I think he had just the same amount of turnovers as assists. And you don't want to. Yeah, exactly. That's not a good number there.
That's not a good ratio.
Another thing that worried me was the Wizards started off 3 for 3 from 3-point land and finished, I believe it was 1 for 15. So that's 4 for 18. That's I don't know the percentage there, but it's pretty bad. Got the win. It is against Orlando, which isn't the strongest team in the league right now. But I definitely feel like it was good to know that there's definitely going to be room for improvement, but they're definitely doing all right.
Let me ask you real quick. What happened at the end of the game that caused I heard it was 88-87, but there was some type of...
There was a first off, there was the Wizards who shot up a goal. The Wizards shot up a basket first, and it was already on the rim.
Marcin Gortat, he put up a layup, or I think it was a putback. It was over the cylinder, and the defender from, I forgot who it was, from Orlando, but he tried to swap it away.
Shaquille O'Neal?
No. Okay. No. Anyways, so that would be a goaltending. It should have been a goaltending. Didn't call it. Now on the other side of the court, when the Orlando Magic put up a shot, they ended up calling goaltending. They reviewed it. Wasn't goaltending, but that was towards the end of the game.
Yeah.
John Wall hit the game-winning shot at the end of it all.
Okay.
With 15 seconds left, I believe it was 15 seconds. Definitely showed a little bit of a clutch gene. Wasn't the very a buzzer beater kind of shot.
Yeah.
But I like what he's doing as far as that, taking control of the team. I want him to be the guy who, now that Paul Pierce is gone, he used to be the leader, believe it or not. Him being the veteran that he was, on the team, he was the leader. And I think he kind of, mentored John Wall into taking that role, which I feel like he's going to have to do if this team wants to make it far in the playoffs, which leads to my next point of topic here, the playoffs. The Wizards, as big of a fan as I am, as far as I see them go, is the Eastern Conference Finals. I think we need a little bit more than what we have now. It all depends on how John Wall and Bradley Beal plays, to be honest with you. If Bradley Beal and John Wall could put up the numbers that they put up yesterday, I feel like they'll be all right. But I think we're all just really waiting for Kevin Durant next summer. Let's be real.
Let's put it this way: if Durant comes here, this team's going to the finals.
Oh, winning the finals. Let's be real. I mean, John Wall, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Gortat, and Otto Porter. That's a great lineup there. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna be hard to tell really, because like I said, Paul Pierce, as much as old as he is, he could definitely be a clutch player when it comes down to it. So definitely, it might be, we might make it to I'd say around the same as we were last year. Somewhere around 45 and 50 wins this year. Hopefully around 3rd or 4th in the East, and I'd say Eastern Conference championship game.
That's what I got him as. I got
That's
him.
a pretty
I got him at 50 wins. I got him at 50 wins.
Bold prediction right there.
I got 50 wins.
50.
Okay.
Well,
I
I
got
mean,
50 wins.
see, and here's the thing. A lot of people say the East is weak. It is compared to the West.
Compared to the West.
Yes,
definitely.
absolutely.
Let's put it this way: if half these teams in the East were in the West, they wouldn't have made the playoffs.
Oh
last
yeah,
year.
That's
and the funny thing
100%.
is, if the Wizards were in the West,
they were the 8th seed.
they were
so-
the 8th seed. Yeah, and it's funny because a friend of mine who's a Houston fan always brings that up when I talk about how good the Wizards are. But whatever. Yeah, so that pretty much goes it as far as the Wizards goes. I think it's gonna be a very interesting season to see how they do this year. And yeah, that's it.
All right, like I said, every week Christian will be doing this segment every week. It's not gonna be bi-weekly. It's gonna be every week. He'll review.
Okay.
He'll review how the Wizards do every week. Also talk some other NBA top news. So this will be a weekly segment. So tune in every week. If you're a basketball fan,
Yes, sir.
we got our NBA analysts in here in studio for
I
the
try.
Shy Sports Talk show.
I try.
All right, so real quick before we go to fantasy football, I just want to mention that the Washington Nationals have appointed a new manager. It sounds like it's going to be Bud Black. He was a manager for the Padres, I believe, for 9 seasons. He's a former MLB pitcher, so he's going to bring that pitching aspect to the Nationals, which they really needed after watching last season. So I really think this was the right hire for the Nationals. Whether it works out, we won't know, but for right now, Bud Black will be the new manager of the Washington Nationals.
Nice.
So we're going to move on now to our Start 'em Up fantasy segment. This is where we go over our starters and sleepers for the week. And, if you've been watching the show, you know how it goes. We'll give you who our must-start is. We'll give you who our sleeper is. We do it for QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end. So let's get right into it. We'll go to the quarterback. And my QB start of the week this coming week is going to be Phillip Rivers of the Chargers. He's going against a horrible Ravens
You gotta
defense.
start him.
You got to
No
start.
matter what.
If you're doing daily fantasy, start Rivers. He's a really cheap value, I believe, in DraftKings. I think he's only like 6,900 or something like that.
In
I'm-
DraftKings, he's super cheap. In FanDuel, they've kind of caught up a little bit. I think he's at 80, 87 or 89 or something like that.
but you got to start Rivers.
he's worth it.
Start Rivers this
100%.
week, and then my sleeper this week is actually going to be the 9:30 game on Sunday, which is going to be I got Matt
Get it,
Stafford.
sleeper.
Matt Stafford. I feel like he's playing against a really soft Kansas City defense. They haven't been the best this year, and I just feel like sooner or later Calvin's going to get going, Stafford's going to get going. I mean, you have weapons there.
Yeah.
I feel like he can start utilizing him. He's too good of a quarterback not to get going. So I'm going to go with Rivers as a must start. Stafford as my sleeper. So Chris, let's go with you first.
Well, definitely for my stardom, I'm going to have to go with Andy Dalton. Coming off the bye, people might have forgot that he is a legitimate quarterback 1 in fantasy football now. If you've looked at his past 3 or 4 games, he's averaging above 20 points. And that's really all you could ask for. He's also playing a divisional game against the Steelers this week. So anytime it's a divisional game, you got to look for. Also, Ben Roethlisberger's coming back, so I believe this is going to be somewhat of a shootout. I don't think it's going to be 56 to 58, but I can definitely see 30 points by the Bengals this week. In terms of sleeper, I'm going to have to go with Jay Cutler, another divisional game. Obviously, Jay Cutler is known for his interceptions, known for his turnovers, but ultimately I could see him having 2 turnovers and still throwing for 300-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. So let's pass it on.
Christian?
Okay, so my starter is going to be Matt Ryan, playing a weak overall Tampa Bay team.
We saw what Kirk Cousins
I
did,
mean-
didn't we, Paul? Did we see what Kirk Cousins did?
We did. Where is it?
There you go. So we seen the Cousins do that to to that lack of defense there. So I think Matt Ryan is going to light them up. I think it's going to be just a blowout, to be honest with you. And my sleeper this week is so we're not sure if Mariota's starting, but honestly I think it doesn't matter. Whoever the Titans quarterback is, that's the sleeper this week. We seen what the Miami Dolphins did to Houston last week. It was borderline murder. So definitely I don't think they're gonna show up at all this week, to be honest with you. You would think that they're gonna rebound and come back, but I think they've just been horrible all season. Yeah, true enough. But yeah, that's my sleeper. Whoever, either Marcus Mariota or Mettenberger.
All right, let's go to running backs. My start of the week is going to be Todd Gurley of the Rams. Ever since he's come off injury, he's been killing it so far. He's going against a really soft 49ers team that's in more turmoil now than we ever thought. You got the whole fight now between Vernon Davis, and I just think there's too much going on there, and I think Gurley's just going to run all over them. Their defense is soft. I mean, when you lose, 2 starters in 1 year, I mean,
Right.
it's not. I mean, all you guys, Borman, how do you,
Navarro Bowman.
yeah, he's the only thing left on that team, that defense.
Yeah.
That's really good. So I'm gonna go with Gurley and my sleeper of the week. CJ2K, Chris Johnson against the Browns. He's come on out of nowhere this year. He's back. It seems like he's back to form and what he used to be. I really think that incident over the offseason maybe had a lot to do with it, him getting refocused on what he should be about his life. So,
which is a good thing. Yeah.
and the Browns defense has not been that good against the run. So I'm going to go with CJ2K, Chris Johnson as my sleeper. So Christian, let's go with you running backs first.
Actually, your sleeper is my starter, Chris Johnson. He had a great game last week. I think he's definitely showed up this season. He's definitely proving what people who didn't believe in him the past couple years wrong. After
He
that,
still got it.
oh, definitely still has it. He's definitely proving that he's not just that home run hitter that he was when he was with us.
Can we just take one quick second to say that Marshall Faulk is dressed like Justin Bieber on the pregame? Can we just go with that real quick? That
I was wondering who he was. Who
if you guys are
Is that-
watching the
Oh, wow.
we do have a TV in studio and we're watching the Thursday pregame. We just have it up and Marshall Faulk is dressed as Justin Bieber and
As a red M&M.
Irvin's an Eminem, but I don't know why he's wearing the red one. I guess he must be a Redskins fan or something.
Something.
All right, sorry, Christian, keep going. That just distracted. That took me off my game.
It
there.
distracted me too. I almost lost my chance of thought there. Anyways, yeah, Chris Johnson. I think he's gonna have a great game this upcoming week. He's had a great season so far. I think he's definitely gonna be one of the top running backs at the end of it all. Sleeper's gonna be Jonathan Stewart for the Carolina Panthers. I actually didn't know that they were the number 1 rushing offense in the league, and yeah, they're just gonna. I think he's gonna show up. So yeah.
Well, you guys took both my starter and my sleeper, so I'm going to have to switch it up a little bit. Todd Gurley, 100% agree. Todd Gurley is here, and he is for real. Let me see. Let's switch it up. So I'm going to have to go with Doug Martin. If I have to choose a starter, I'm going to choose Doug Martin. We've seen that the past 3 games, he's rushed for 100 yards. Now, granted, he didn't play the best defenses, but once again, he's coming up against a pretty soft defense in the Atlanta Falcons. I've also read somewhere that they've given up probably the most yards to a running back in terms of passing. So right now, Doug Martin and Chris Sims, is Chris Sims or Charles Sims? Charles Sims, they split the passing downs, but I can still see Doug Martin, little muscle hamster, or no, he prefers the, what is it? Doug, what's his name? What's his new nickname? Not
Doug
Muscle Hamster.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
You guys don't know?
Whatever his nickname is,
I can't remember his new
Hey,
nickname, but
long as
either
he keep
way.
giving me fantasy points, I don't care what his name is.
Unfortunately, Matthew Shipe has him in our fantasy league. So this
Someone
week,
made him-
actually, you know what? He's going to do very bad this week, just because.
Someone made the mistake of picking up West instead of picking up.
Well, look,
Doug Martin.
that is going to be my sleeper. Is going to be West, Charkandrick West, because last week. All right, so the first week that he got to start, he was feeling it. He wasn't really feeling it. He had a fumble. He didn't really play the full bell cow role that you thought he was going to play, which is Jamal Charles's role, where he's going to get 20+ touches. Last week, he finally was able to, he got the first game off his back. He's finally getting the groove. He's getting 20 touches, and I feel like he's going to get at least 80 yards and a touchdown this week against a soft Lions defense, 100%.
All right. And let's move to wide receivers. And I said Rivers as quarterback, so I'm going Allen as my wide receiver, Keenan Allen. I mean, they've just been. I mean, what do you want me to say, man? They've been the Ravens.
He broke a record this past week. Did you see?
Yeah,
that?
the most receptions.
Most receptions in the first 7 weeks.
62. He's killing. He's going to kill the Ravens. The Ravens have nothing they can do against him. The Ravens defense is horrible. They don't have a secondary without Suggs. They don't have any kind of leadership. And Raven fans, all you guys are like, weh, welcome to Redskin territory for once in your life. Now you know how all the Washington fans feel. And you guys keep bragging about how good you are. Come back to reality. Well, not reality, but for them. It's a down year for the Ravens, but now they know the pain that all you guys go through down here. And then my sleeper is, I can't believe I'm calling this guy a sleeper. It amazes me that I'm doing this. AJ Green. I think he's been very quiet so far this year. Dalton's really passing the ball around a lot more than just Green. But I like the matchup against the Steelers. We saw the Steelers secondary. They can get torched pretty badly. Their secondary just hasn't been the same about Palomalu. They don't have that leadership. So I'm going to go with AJ Green as my sleeper. So, Chris, go with you.
Well, definitely you took my starter, so I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go with Alshon Jeffries. And the reason I'm going with Jeffries is because, once again, the matchup, I really do think Jay Cutler is going to go for 3 touchdowns this week. I feel like Jeffries is going to catch at least one of those touchdowns this week, 100%. And my sleeper, you guys should know this guy, Nate Washington.
Definitely.
This is a revenge game for Nate Washington, and you saw last week he's still got some left in the tank. And I do feel like this game that you guys think the Titans are going to run all over the Texans, I don't think so. I think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. So definitely Nate Washington. Look out for him in daily fantasy.
Christian?
Okay, so my starter is going to be Calvin Johnson. As you said, they're playing Kansas City. Neither team has really looked that great.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson with 3 touchdowns, over 500 yards so far in the season. I think he's definitely going to show up, being, Stafford's main target there. I think he's going to get – I'm calling him 2 touchdowns this game. I think he's going to get 2 touchdowns. And the only reason my sleeper is a sleeper is because he hasn't played in a couple weeks. So I think you know who that's going to be. And also because he's playing Seattle's defense. Des Bryant. If he plays, I think he's questionable right now. I'm not sure if they've upped that up to probable, but I think they're saying that he wants
to play 100%.
Yeah, so I definitely feel like
Is he gonna play? I still don't know, but
I'm gonna bang on him playing. I think he's gonna come back stronger than ever. I think he's definitely at least a top 3 receiver in the league, and he's gonna show that off against the Seattle Seahawks, who haven't looked that great this year.
No.
All right, we're going to finish it off, of course, with tight ends. And my start of the week has been probably my start of the week every week. I'm sure you two can guess. Is Gronk. It's Gronk. I mean, what more? Who else can you really depend on in fantasy football tight end?
He's the only tight end really worth the first round.
He's a
draft
sure. Yeah, and it's funny because at first I thought Jimmy Graham with.
Can we all agree on Gronk or no?
Well, I have someone else because I knew you would pick Gronk.
Nah, Gronk is definitely the safe bet there.
My sleeper is going to be Kyle Rudolph against a hurt Bears defense. The Bears defense hasn't been the best this year, and I like Bridgewater is really utilizing Rudolph in the
red zone.
And something about the Vikings, real quick, I just want to put this out there, is Stephon Diggs is now the leading receiver for that team.
That's crazy.
Went to Maryland University.
Shout out
went
to Maryland.
Good counsel. So this kid was I think it was 5th or 4th round pick. Everyone was passing on him because of his knee injuries, but he's really lighting it up as long as he can. He's showing what he can do and he can stay healthy. So just a quick shout out to a Maryland kid. But Chris, let's go over your tight ends.
Which one?
Your tight end.
No, which Chris?
You. Christian.
I'm just playing. All right, so tight end, I'm going to have to go with Tyler Eifert. Coming off the bye, he's definitely, I think, only had 2 okay games with like 9 or 10 fantasy points. But every other game, he's either got a ton of catches or he's hit like the red zone or the end zone like twice. So I feel like, against this Steelers secondary, which has been cut up like Swiss cheese, he's going to score at least a touchdown and maybe 100 yards. I guarantee it. In terms of a sleeper, I'm going to have to go with the guy that I've been banking on in daily fantasy over and over and over again, and that's Green from the Chargers. Because as long as Antonio Gates is out, which I do believe he's going to be out again this week, Green is automatically a sleeper because no one's going to think that he's going to, he automatically takes Antonio Gates' role. I mean, they have a very similar body size, body type. He knows the offense now, and you saw last week he definitely paid off. Not just last week, the first 4 games of the season. Phillip Rivers, after those 4 games, Antonio Gates' suspension during those 4 games, week 5 he said that Ladarius Green has earned his spot on the field. So even when Gates is in 2 tight end sets, you saw that sometimes he's going to Green instead of Gates. So definitely 100% he is a sleeper.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Delaney Walker for my starter. Again, playing Houston, let's be real. Hasn't had the greatest season, 1 touchdown only. Again, like Calvin Johnson, I think he's gonna put up at least 1 touchdown this game. Especially if Mariota comes back, more of a safety blanket for him. He might be a little concerned about the knee or whatever. Yes, I'm gonna go with Delaney Walker, and for my sleeper, I'm gonna go with Martellus Bennett from Chicago playing Minnesota.
Yeah, he's gonna get a touchdown too.
All right, we're going to take a short break. I probably didn't even tell Paul already.
No,
for a
it's
break.
all right. we can go for it. I think we'll see what
How
happens.
about this? Before we do our break, we'll do our predictions for the week.
Sure, that's it. Yeah.
How about that? Does that sound good with everyone?
Sure, why not?
Sure.
All right, Brad hasn't tested me his yet, so I'll just have to hold out on his until he sends it. But let's go ahead with the game tonight. Miami versus New England. I'm taking my New England. Coach is taking New England. So, Paul, Miami or New England?
New England.
Christian?
Definitely New England.
And Chris?
Yep, Patriots.
Okay,
That was easy.
why did I even put that game? It's a win for everyone. All right, let's go to Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. I'm going with
Oh.
Cincinnati, and Coach is also going with Cincinnati. So, Paul, let's go with you.
I don't know. Is that a tough call?
Is Big Ben playing?
Big Ben is playing.
Big Ben's playing.
Okay.
He's playing. That's why I think this is going to be a high-scoring game.
Should I start him then?
100%.
I have Palmer also. Palmer
I'd start
instead
Palmer.
of
I start Palmer.
I'll
instead of
definitely start
Roethlisberger
Palmer.
right now.
Start Palmer.
I'm doing the exact opposite. I have Palmer and Roethlisberger. I'm starting Roethlisberger.
So do I. I have the same.
hmm Palmer just hasn't looked the same the past 2 games. He's been asleep. He's been really sleepy looking.
Let's go. I'll go with Pittsburgh.
All right, Christian,
I'm taking Pittsburgh too.
Cordova.
I'm going to say Cincinnati stays undefeated this week.
All right, yeah.
So so what was the injury that Roethlisberger had?
He had
Is that
a
a knee
it
injury?
was an MCL sprain.
Okay. But he is definitely playing.
He was very close to playing last week. So, and this week he's already practicing like full. So he's
Oh,
playing.
he's playing.
He's 100% playing.
By the way, I want to make note that I went 5-0 last week in the pick 'em, and Paul went 4-1 last week.
Yeah. Actually did a little bit of research. I just went to NFL.com and looked at which bar was further along.
Right.
I was like, all right, that
Yeah,
one.
let's call that research. Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay, and let's go to the Giants New Orleans game. I'm going to go with New Orleans. Coach is going with New Orleans. So, Paul,
Let's go New Orleans as well.
Christian,
I'm gonna go with the Giants.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with Saints. They're on a roll right now, and I think they're gonna keep it up.
Make note that I'm the only one who picked them last week against Indianapolis.
Mhm.
The only one.
Yeah, but Indianapolis has just been.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone even would pick Indy. As we speak right now, Brad's testing me his pitch, so we'll get those as we get coming. Green Bay versus Denver. I got Green Bay. Coach has Green Bay. Paul, who do you got?
Green Bay. Yeah. I think you have to.
Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't bet against him, so I'm going with Green Bay.
Chris?
I say that both teams stay undefeated and they tie. No. Definitely, I'm gonna have to roll with Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers is just too much, even against the #1 defense.
Okay, and Brad took Denver.
All
Real
right.
quick, the ones we already did, Brad's taking New England like everyone else.
Yep.
Brad is going to take Cincinnati, and Brad is going to take the Giants.
I could easily see this game going to overtime, though.
What do you think the bet is on on them tying for real?
I don't know. You want to make a bet?
I don't know.
That's funny.
Nah, that's not gonna happen. don't make that bet.
Hey man, I'd
Not a
put
good
$5 on it.
All right, and the last game we're going to do is Seattle versus Dallas. So I'm taking me, Brad, and Coach all took Seattle. So, Paul?
Yeah, I would never. Yeah, Seattle.
Chris?
Definitely.
Seattle.
Everyone? Okay.
Both
See?
Chris's.
See? You gotta specify.
So the only game that's different is the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh. Giants and New Orleans is a little bit different. And Brad's the only one who took Denver. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So are we ready for the break, Paul?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our contender-pretender segment, a little mid-season MVP awards, and then we'll get into the Redskins review. So stay with us.
Hey, this is Paul from the Shipe Sports Talk podcast. Just wanted to let you know how you could listen to our podcast while you're on the go using an app called Stitcher. You can listen anytime, anywhere using the award-winning free Stitcher app. Best part is, when you stream our podcast or any of the other 20,000 available out there, there's no downloading, no syncing, or no wasted memory. It's on demand and on the go. So if you don't already have the Stitcher app on your iPhone, Android phone, or tablet, download it free today at Stitcher.com or from your app store. Add us to your favorites list, and every week when we put out our new episode, Stitcher will automatically update and have the latest episode of the Shipe Sports Talk podcast waiting for you. While you're there, it really helps us get our podcast noticed if you give us a nice review, rating, and thumbs up. We'll greatly appreciate it. Have a comment or question? Easy. Go to shipesportstalk.com, click on the Contact Us tab, and there you'll be able to submit your questions or comments. We love hearing from you, so we'll be sure to thank you live on the air. You'll also find on shipesportstalk.com the latest episodes, show notes, and other ways to find us on platforms like iTunes and YouTube. Now, back to the show.
And we're back to the Shipe Sports Talk Show. We're here for our second half of the show. We're going to start off with the contender versus pretender list. This is where we're going to go through all the division leaders right now. We're going to say either they're a contender or pretender. Either they're going to lose it or they're going to keep it. So let's go with the AFC first. No explanation. We're just going to go right to it. So AFC, the East. Patriots, they're going to be a contender. Chris?
100% contender.
Christian?
Definitely a contender.
Paul?
Contender.
The AFC South, Indianapolis, I'm going with pretender. I think they're playing bad enough, and I think that division is wide open to where someone else, I think, could make a run. So I'm saying Indy is going to be a pretender. Chris?
I'm going to say they're a contender. There's no way Andrew Luck is going to suck this bad for the whole season.
Christian?
I'm going to say pretender because he sucked this far into the season. So I'm a bank on him keeping that up.
Yeah.
Paul, what do you think about the Colts?
Yeah, I'll do the pretender. Did you say pretender? Yeah.
Contender or pretender?
Pretender, yeah.
All right, the North Bengals. I'm going to say contender. I think this is the year I think Andy Dalton is finally taking that next step, and I'm going to say they're going to win this division. I'm going to say contender for the Bengals. Chris?
Yep, contender.
Christian?
Definitely contender.
Paul?
Contender. Yes.
And the West, Broncos, I'm going to say contender. I think the rest of that division is just god-awful. I think their defense is going to guide them to another division crown. So I'm going to say contender for the Broncos. Chris?
Same thing. Right now they're winning on their defense, and Peyton Manning is doing enough.
Yeah, definitely. With Peyton Manning having the year that he's having, which isn't that great, they're still number one in the division, still undefeated, so yeah.
Paul?
Sorry, what was it again?
Broncos, contender, pretender?
Contender, yeah. Why not?
All right, NFC. Now we're going to move to the NFC, the East. I'm going to go with the Giants as a contender. I said, our preview show that they're going to win the division. I said they're going to make it as far as the NFC championship game. You got Jason Pierre-Paul, who is now coming back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We'll see how he improves that defense. So I'm going to say the Giants are still going to win this division. I know Romo comes back on week 11, but I think it's going to be too little too late. So I'm going to go with the Giants. Chris?
I'm going to say pretender. This division is too up in the air still. Even though they're ahead, with Des Bryant coming back, with the Eagles still right there nipping at the butt, I'm going to say pretender.
I'm going to go with contender, actually. I like what I see from the Giants. It's Eli Manning somehow always pulls it out of his ass somehow. And especially 2 weeks ago in that last drive, at the end of the game.
Against the 49ers?
Yeah, right? Against the 49ers with that ridiculous catch that wouldn't happen with any other team or any other quarterback for that matter, but Eli Manning. But yeah, I'm going to say contender. They're gonna toughen it out.
Paul?
Yeah. I mean, I'll go with contender also.
All right, the South, we have the Panthers and the Falcons are the only teams in that division that's probably going to compete. But you got the Saints coming up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just go, since the Panthers are in front, are the Panthers going to keep winning that division or do you think they're going to end up losing it? I'm going to say they're going to lose it either to the Falcons or the Saints. I don't think they're going to hold on. I think sooner or later, the not having a big-time wide receiver eventually will catch up to them. And I think eventually teams are going to figure out to make this team one-dimensional and make them throw the ball. Right now, they're running all over everyone.
Yep.
You make them one-dimensional and they have to throw it, start pressing the bots. I think they're going to be in trouble. So I'm going to go with the Panthers are not going to keep this lead. Chris?
I'm going to say contender. I'm going to have to go against you because they do have the number one rushing attack, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. And right now, they still can't stop it because they have Jonathan Stewart, they have Cam Newton, and they don't really need the big-time receivers. They just need a few catches here and there, especially in the red zone. That's really where it counts, and that's kind of where they're winning right now. And technically, they are the strongest percentage to stay undefeated the rest of the season. Out of any of the other undefeated teams, they're the number one in terms of their opponents' wins.
Christian?
I say contender. I like Cam Newton a lot. They're playing with a lot of confidence, which I think is what's really taking them this far. This far in the season, they're playing with a lot of confidence, and like Matt said, they have no real big wide receiver with them. with the star receiver getting injured in the beginning or before. Was it before the?
Yeah, it was in like training camp. I think.
Yeah. But even then, imagine if they had him on their team. Would be probably saying Super Bowl team right here. That's far as good as
Possibility.
But yeah, I don't think they're gonna make any big noise in the playoffs. But I definitely think they're gonna hold on to this division.
Mm-hmm.
Paul?
Contender.
All right, so I'm the only one going against it. North Packers, contender. Can we all just agree on
100%.
this? Tristan?
Discount double check contender, man.
Paul, contender?
Yeah.
The West, the Cardinals. Now, this is a division I had trouble picking real quick, but I'm going to say the Cardinals are a contender. I don't like Seattle this year. I think they've taken a step back, and it's shown, especially on the offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
They traded for Jimmy Graham, but they haven't used him right. And when they got rid of that center, that was a big part, it seems like, their offensive line. So I'm going to say Cardinals are going to hold on to this division. Chris?
I'm going to say the same, and that's, again, based off of their defense is really keeping the team alive right now. Like I said, Carson Palmer was hot, but the past couple games he's really just not looked like he's there 100%. I don't know what that's all about, but 100% he's doing enough.
Christian?
I'm gonna go with contender, and I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I feel like Carson Palmer is playing like he's 10 years younger, and
oh yeah, I mean he's playing good.
Playing out of his mind, and the three-headed beast that they have at running back with Ellington, Johnson, well, both Johnsons actually. I feel like that they're definitely gonna hold on to that. Like you said, Seattle, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if Sierra has something to do with it with Russell Wilson. I don't know. Hasn't looked that great this year, but yeah, future like that. But yeah, definitely Arizona's gonna hold on to this division.
Paul?
Yeah. Contender.
All right, now let's get into we're going to do an MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defense, and Rookie of the Year right now. So just like I said, it's going to be quick fire. Just going to list them and, get up for comment on Facebook. So my MVP is going to be Brady. My Offensive Player of the Year is going to be Brady. My Defensive Player of the Year, I think, is Revis. He's really made a difference on that Jets team, I believe. And my Rookie so far, I'm still going to go with Mariota because, quarterbacks really get it up, they always get the edge in this. I think he's had a good year so far. The fumbles is what's killing him, but other than that, I think he's been, really good for this Titans team.
Right.
Really all their losses except for the Dolphins game, were all under 3 points. So I really like the direction this team is going. They just have to find that way to win. So that's going to be my 4. Chris?
4? I thought it was 3.
No, I picked. What do you mean 4?
You said that's my 4.
That's my 4 awards.
Okay. So, MVP, I'm going to have to agree, Tom Brady. Offensive Player of the Year is definitely Tom Brady. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to have to disagree with Revis, but I'm going to stick with the cornerback position. I'm going to pick Aqib Talib. I just think he's really making an impact right now with his picks. And Rookie of the Year, I'm going to have to also disagree. I mean, honestly, Mariota is not looking that great. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but someone who is looking really, really good, like he's been there for a long time, is Amari Cooper. And I think he's just going to keep rolling.
Christian?
I'm going to roll everybody else on offense. Tom Brady, let's face it. He has, I believe, 17 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's looking like he's always looked out there. He's been out to set. He's been out on a mission to, ever since
After
the whole allegations.
Deflategate.
Yeah, exactly, Deflategate. And he's just been ruthless out there. So definitely Tom Brady, offensive MVP. And I'm gonna go a little left field with this one on defensive MVP. I know he's old, but he's definitely playing a lot younger than is Charles Woodson. He's old as dirt, but he's tied for first as far as interception goes.
Yeah.
That Oakland defense is actually playing pretty good. They're not playing bad at all. So I definitely think he's definitely helping them with those 4 picks. And what is it?
Rookie.
Oh, rookie. Sorry. Amari Cooper. I love Mariota. I have a Mariota jersey on.
Yeah.
But I feel like Amari Cooper is just you can. It almost looks like he's been in the league for a couple years now. Mariota. He's still making a couple rookie mistakes, which is it's going to be more obvious because he's a quarterback.
It's a different position.
Exactly. But Amari Cooper, like I said, he's playing like he's been in the league for a couple years. They asked him last year what he would be doing if he had gotten drafted that year, and he said dominating, and that's what he's doing. So definitely Amari Cooper. Mariota, a close second.
All right, so now we're going to switch gears to the final segment of the day, which we're going to talk about the Redskins review for the first half.
Oh, man.
We're going to give our best finish, our worst. Actually, it's not as bad as you probably think it's going to be. All right, so I guess I'll start off. And Kirk Cousins, let's just talk about him and how I think this team is better with Kirk. I think if you saw the games he wins, as long as he doesn't throw interceptions, his team wins.
Definitely.
All the games he's won has been 0 interceptions. If you saw the last game against Tampa, people were, I don't know, we're kind of like booing him for the first half when really, he had a pretty good stat line in the first half.
Oh,
it's
definitely.
just their defense was not, he had the one fumble. But here's the thing we all talked about was how is he going to rebound against stuff like that? And what an end of the game he had. He had that touchdown, with I think 30-something seconds left. I mean, he leaves the field and he goes crazy in the hallways, for God's sake. Yeah. He has a fire that RG3 didn't have. And that's what I like. I don't know if you can agree on that, but I feel like RG3 never showed really emotions or anything like that. It was all the little smile crap they put on Instagram and Twitter on all these memes. But Kurt, he's fired up. He wants to win. I love how he's running this offense. And I tell you what, we're really going to see what this team is made of. They got the Patriots after the bye week. We'll see what they do against them. But I tell you what, if Kurt has a good game against the Patriots, he may have bought himself maybe a 3-year contract, if not by the Redskins, but by someone else looking for a quarterback. And I tell you what, he cuts down the interceptions. I think he's going to be better. And speaking of the passing attack, people were, the past 3 weeks or so, we need Deshaun. I don't really think you need Deshaun as bad as you think. I think the main guy you were missing was Jordan Reed.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's just because of the way that they play.
Yeah. I really don't think, and you know what, the whole thing they came up with Deshaun last week was, gang members broke into his house and all this other stuff, armed robbers. And, you look back at his past history, he has had affiliations with, gangs, and they said he's thrown up signs and stuff like that. And everyone talked about it. That's why Chip Kelly let him go. Everyone said, oh, Chip Kelly's racist. No, Chip Kelly was starting to get rid of problems and everything, and that was a problem Deshaun had. And you almost, you see a home invasion like that, and the first thing comes to mind with Redskins fans is Sean Taylor. Right. And that's how Taylor, what would happen if Deshaun was there? They were armed. I mean, was it a hit on Deshaun? Was it a random robbery? But this is the second time his house has been hit. Right. His house was also hit, I believe, in New Jersey when he was with Philly. So it's not a coincidence Deshaun's, is being, it's almost like he's being targeted. Someone like that you can't have on the team. You can't really get rid of him the rest of the year. He's going to come back, but I really don't think this passing game needs Deshaun. Ryan Grant proved last week that he can play. You have Pierre still there. Jordan, I keep saying Jordan. Jamison Crowder is showing that he can play an excellent slot. Jordan Reed. So I really think this passing attack, as much as people saying we're missed Deshaun, I really think the key person that's, the last 2 games where Kurt has struggled has been Jordan Reed.
But see, here's the thing. I feel like at the very least, he'll be a decoy at the very least, what I mean? Because he's a big name.
But I think it's someone that you can part ways with after this year.
Is this his contract year or?
I don't know if it is or not, but I think it's someone they can. If McClellan's in there trying to change the culture of this team, Deshaun will not be on this team next year.
But back to Cousins for a second, and I know I'm gonna sound a little crazy by saying this, but I think he's shown a little bit of a clutch gene. I don't know if you guys would agree,
Well, yeah, he's led 3 fourth quarter drives this year that either won the game or tied it.
And he does have 9 touchdowns and 8 picks, which isn't a great number at all.
Nope.
But I think he's definitely proving that he shows up when he needs to in the fourth quarter, and he could definitely drive the team down the field and score when he needs to.
I mean, that's his biggest claim to fame right now, isn't it? His ability to run what do they call it, like a 2-minute offense or whatever.
Yeah, I mean he's running it perfect for this team.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's done it multiple times, right? I mean, okay. So actually, I went to the game. It was freaking awesome.
I'm sure the first half. How many people left the stands at halftime? Could you notice that maybe a good amount left? Maybe.
No, I mean I don't think many. Left at halftime. Not that I noticed, at least, but we had
what was the score at halftime?
24-0.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure some people did, but I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people did. It didn't seem like they did. At least we got some pretty good seats as a gift. We got the dream seats or whatever, so we were there on first row.
Wow!
The field is right in front of us, but
we
were on Tampa Bay side. But so it was pretty awesome. It was hard to see, but I mean, we were able to At the second half, the crowd was going crazy, so it was pretty awesome. And I got a little souvenir Did Alicia tell you, Matt?
What happened?
So like you're sitting there, right, and you're kind of hanging. I'm like leaning up against like the wall that's there, and so I'm kind of like on the edge of my seat. So next thing I know, my fat ass dude just kind of goes, boom. The seat just crashes down to the ground. I broke the freaking seat.
Oh my god!
Did you gotta take the chair home?
I did.
You took the chair home.
I got it in my trunk right now. Yeah.
They let you do that?
Did they know you took it?
Well, the guy, like they have like these guys down there because you get like free food and things down there, so the people kind of take care of you, right? And the guy's like, make sure you take that with you because they're just gonna throw it away. And like he kept saying it. I'm like, are you kidding? Like I didn't know if he was kidding or not. So I was like, all right, fine. So like when I got up, like after the game, I'm just like, I take it with me. And he's like, you're gonna do that? I mean, you think you're gonna have any trouble with that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna hold it and blend in with the crowd and walk out. And that's exactly what I did. I have it in my trunk right now, so it's pretty cool.
That's tight. That's fucking awesome.
I mean, it sucks that I broke the damn
chair,
seat. Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, to my defense, a little bit. All right. I'm not the lightest guy in the world, but it was like
it is Redskins Stadium. Everything.
It did start. It was originally when I got there. It was a little. It was a little tilted on like on the right side.
A couple screws there.
Right. But yeah, so there you go, Dan Snyder. I broke your fucking seat.
Well, let's stay on the topic of offense and let's go to the run game. Do they have a run game? Where has it been? It's like, hello, run game. Week 2 was a while back. We need you back. They need to get the run game going. Like we said, beginning of the year, you can't rely on Kurt to throw 40 times a game because those interceptions are going to come. They need to get the run game going. I don't know what happened to it. Disappeared Morris. But here's the thing, though, is people are complaining about the run game. But let's bring to another point is health issues. Mm-hmm. They haven't had D Hall for a lot of time. Culliver, Deshaun, the offensive line, it hasn't been the same unit since week 1 when Morris, ran for all those yards. So, the run game ties into the health also, which if this team gets healthy, I'm saying this on air again, they could be a dangerous team in the NFC East. I am saying it on air. The only problem with this team right now is the stretch games they have are going to be difficult.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They are going to be difficult, and that's what may hurt this team is who they have to play down the stretch. And it's, it sucks because it seems like, with Kurt, they could have a chance at the playoffs, but, I mean, you got the Patriots coming out of the bye. Then you got to play the Saints. And then you got to play the Panthers. I mean, that's 3. And then the Giants and the Cowboys is like, oh, God. And then you end the season with the Bills, Eagles, Cowboys. So it's just like the schedule was not really nice. That's why they had to have a strong start. And, they dropped a couple of games that maybe they should have won.
Yeah.
It's definitely the first game was win. So it's going to be a tough schedule in the second half. But I feel like their run game can get going. Kurt minimized the interceptions. They're going to be good. A lot of the analysts, I'm myself, I'm going to wipe away next week as a loss. They're going to be 3-5 after next week. There's no way they can shock the world. They shocked the world, that'd be amazing, but there's no way you're beating the Patriots. No. There's just Tom Brady is on a different level.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to just tear you apart in whatever you do. And we saw, their run defense needs to get back to where it was. I don't know what happened to it. The first couple weeks, I think it was doing pretty good, and then it just.
They were in the top 5.
And then now Freeman ran free. Doug Martin just ran all over them, and then you're going to have Lewis and Blunt. That combo is going to hurt you.
Oh, definitely.
And then the Saints, you got Ingram, and then you got the Panthers.
Number 1 rushing team.
They're good. They're going to have to get going, and Reed's going to need to stay healthy more. But in order for this team to make the playoffs, they're going to need a 2007 push. Mm-hmm. You can only lose probably 3 more games and make the playoffs in this division. You could probably get it at 9-7. So you're gonna have to look. The first 3 losses they get maybe right out of the bye.
And they're gonna definitely have to win the division games. Definitely.
So they're gonna have to, like I said, they're gonna have to go on the 2012 run. And right now, I look at their schedule. My best finish for them is honestly 9-7. Worst case scenario is 5-11. I think they could steal 2 games at the very end. But still, I personally think Kirk Cousins is going to do enough to earn a shot. I think you keep on building around Kurt. Yeah, you go to the draft, but with 5-11, some of the teams we've seen so far this year, 5-11 may not even get you a top 5 pick.
Now, you remember, I believe it was either 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was back on, we talked about Kirk Cousins and what we thought was going to happen to him at the end of the season. What do you guys think now? Do you like, as of right now, would you give him a contract?
As a backup?
Whoa.
I honestly, you guys are talking like he's an all-star. He's not. I'm sorry.
Not yet. He's not an all-star yet, but he's still.
I think he can work his way to be an NFL starter.
Oh,
I
definitely.
Think so.
I think he's gonna.
So.
I think.
I really don't.
I think if the Redskins are smart, they're gonna give him, like Matt said earlier, a good 2-year deal. Nothing major. I think he definitely should be the starter for next year. I think he's proven that he can win games, and that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Look, this is why I'm saying.
But what games has he won?
What do you mean?
He's won 3 games against Tampa Bay, who's garbage, Eagles, who are pretty down there right now, and the Rams, who at the beginning of the season were garbage.
But here's the thing. Tampa Bay was beating the Redskins, like you said, 24-0.
All right, here's my thing.
And they almost lost to the Titans, who they lost to the Titans.
Yeah. Buccaneers got blown out by the Titans.
No,
you mean the
I thought we were talking
Falcons?
about the Falcons. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can't say the Falcons.
Yeah, but the Falcons are also 6-1 though.
But what I'm saying is they're not the same team that they were coming off.
Okay. Then here's my question for you. They're 3-4. What's the record with RG3?
What's the record with RG3? I have no idea.
What's the record? What would if RG3 was quarterback? What would their record be?
Because he never got a chance. I can't tell you.
I think RG3 they're not 3-4. I don't think RG3 comes back against the Eagles, comes back against the Buccaneers. I don't think those happen.
They're 1-6 for RG3.
All right. Here's the deal. He is not the one who is making these comebacks. I don't think it's him.
How is he? He's the one making the throws.
But he's making a 5-yard pass that the receiver has to make.
And what does Tom Brady do?
He's at least throwing deep bombs.
But Tom Brady's game
he's
is a short,
dissecting
is a short pass.
defenses. No, I don't think so. See, that's the thing. Look.
No, I'm not, by any means, I'm not comparing Kirk Cousins to Tom Brady.
No, not even close.
But if you want to go by that, you can arguably say...
You know another thing Kurt brings to this team? Fire, passion, they haven't had the quarterback position for since Gus Farad busted his head on the stupid
let's hear it one more time.
wall.
Let's hear it one more time.
Where is it? Yeah, right?
When have you ever heard RG3 come out of a game like that? Never. He doesn't
because every time he said something, he was criticized, so he had to shut up.
No, but he opened his mouth way too much.
Kurt doesn't say anything stupid.
That wasn't stupid?
No, it wasn't. That was
his
fire.
voice cracked.
I would love...
You like that?
I would love Mariota to come out.
I would love some fire like that.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
see Brady this year? How fired up he is?
Hell
He's
yeah.
spiking the ball.
He headbutts his receivers after they make a touchdown.
Redskins haven't had that in a while.
There's a difference, though.
This is why I say you keep Kirk Cousins for a 2-year contract. I
don't mind having him as a backup, but he's not the future of the Redskins.
But here's the thing, though. If you draft another QB, you're starting this process all over again. Because unless you get a 1-2 pick, you're not going to have a quarterback who can come in the lead. So you know what you do is you keep Cousins as your starter for 2 to 3 years, and you build around Kurt. And then if he doesn't work up 2 years, you've already built up enough on maybe the offense and an offensive piece to where then you can draft a quarterback, start him. There the pieces are. That's why you keep him for 2 years instead of wasting another damn draft pick on a quarterback that you're going to have to develop for another year.
Well, here's the thing is I think it all starts with the line, 100%. Regardless of who your quarterback is.
He's doing good with backups.
Yeah.
Okay, again, he only has one pass that has gone over 40 yards.
How many sacks does he have?
Oh, that I didn't look.
How many sacks? How many sacks does he have compared to RG3?
But how many interceptions does he have?
Okay, but at least he's not losing yards.
So compare him to who's another quarterback? Mariota is he? So Mariota is a rookie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many years has Cousins been?
This is his
third
or fourth,
something like that.
But first, maybe real chance. He played a couple games.
First real chance.
This is his
this is
the
fourth
first
year.
This is his team, pretty much.
Right,
Yeah, how can you?
100%.
RG3's had his seasons. How can you judge Kurt by after 7 full games of actually
Because
being a
we've
starter?
seen him for not just this year, but years past that he has.
It's never been his team.
It's never been his team though. He's always been a backup. Always had it looked over his shoulder, thinking, "Shit, if I screw up, they're going to take me out." Now he doesn't have to worry about it. Now it's like this is your team. You don't have to look over your shoulder if you mess up. You know what? You mess up, you get your head back right, and that's what he's doing. He's having these mess ups, but it's not going game. It's all right. I messed up. Let me get back out there. And in years past, he messed up. It's like, oh crap, Colt McCoy's right behind me loosening up, and then your head when you're starting quarterback and you look back and there's another guy warming up. Where's your head at? It's gone. It's completely gone. He doesn't have that this year. RG3, he doesn't worry about RG3. RG3's been inactive for half the year. He's not going to play. They're not going to sacrifice $16 million for him getting hurt. And here's the thing: you put RG3 in, he's liable to get hurt. He's gonna get hurt.
That's the thing. He's not going to play. And I'm not saying RG3 is the answer right now, but I'm saying Kirk Cousins is not the answer.
RG3 was never the answer. That first year was a fluke,
RG3
and it's showing it.
He just feels more. To me, he feels. I'm more comfortable with him moving forward right now than anybody.
Like I said, sign him 2 to 3 years, let him be your starter, build a better team around him, which you've seen teams can win Super Bowls with so-and-so quarterbacks. Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson. I mean, you can see teams have won with so-and-so as long as you put weapons around him. And Scott McCoolin is doing that.
That was defense. That was the defense that won those games.
And then the defense is doing.
Our defense sucks.
But you can win with quarterbacks like that, though.
Oh,
we can win our division.
That's why I'm saying
we can win our division.
That's what I'm saying is you spend those draft picks that you would use on a first-round quarterback on a first-round defensive.
Well, I 100% agree with what you're saying. That if we don't get a number 1 or number 2 draft pick, there's no point.
I think even number 1, number 2, you don't take a quarterback.
No,
I haven't.
this year,
there's no quarterbacks right now in college that have impressed me enough to be deserving of that.
Well, Tom Brady didn't impress anybody.
How many Tom Brady's are there in a millennium?
How many times can you hit on a Tom Brady? Let's be honest. Like, honestly, how many times is Tom Brady going to be hit on in a draft? Never.
Never again.
That was like a one-time thing that will never happen again.
I guess the closest maybe.
Kurt Warner was undrafted.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kurt Warner.
But you don't hit on a guy like that all the time. Look, 16 touchdowns, 1 interception. You don't hit on that.
No.
That's someone that is just pure quarterback. I think Kurt is a guy that you have to put pieces around. Let's go back to the last couple of years. Some of these weapons weren't here. Reed was hurt all the time. He has that back. Other passing attacks they never had. Now he's getting weapons. He has the interceptions, but he's also making plays. And the thing about him, like we said, is he has a clutch gene that RG3 didn't have. Let's go back to 2012. Who really got this team to the playoffs when RG3 got hurt? Kurt. Kurt played good against the Browns. What about the Ravens? He drove them right down the field. Not only did he score, but then he ran a read option in the end zone. So if you look at it, Kurt has always had this clutch gene. He had it at Michigan State. He threw a Hail Mary for a touchdown.
Right.
I mean, Hail Marys are jump balls.
Let's be honest.
But he's always had this kind of gene in him that I don't think RG3 had. I think RG3, when he was down or out, that was it. You don't get, because RG3 was just...
There's no turning back.
There's none. He's that kind of player.
Reminiscent of Vince Young, maybe, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, the great first year afterwards. RG3, yeah, he was great in a read option, but as soon as he said, I want to be a pocket passer, I don't want to run the read option, that was it. He was done.
Well, that's the thing is they made him do that.
Now, let me ask you this.
No, he said he wanted to be a pocket passer.
Matt,
were those his words? That was put into his head, dude.
He wanted to be like Aaron Rodgers, what he said.
Put into his head.
Let me ask you this, man. Now, not to change subjects, but do you think if the Redskins would have done what the Titans are doing with Mariota and limiting his running, do you think that would have changed the outcome at all?
RG3?
Yeah.
Yes.
From the beginning, as soon as
I think if you don't use him like that and you try to develop him into a passer right away, you do it. But the fact is they used his skill set, and that's what made them win. Mm-hmm. But that skill set was only good. As you see now in the NFL, Colin Kaepernick, first good year, same year as RG3.
Yep.
What's he doing?
I was going to bring that point up, but again,
those quarterbacks don't last in this league, except unless your name is Michael Vick.
Right.
Well.
Or Cam Newton. But here's the difference between Vick. Vick went to jail.
Cam is 6'5" or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
He's got a body. Yeah,
that's got what I'm saying. Body. The difference between Vick and Cam when they came in the league was when Vick came in the league, he wasn't a small guy either. Those guys' bodies are built to take hits. Kaepernick's body was built to take hits, but Kaepernick's showing that he's just not as good. It was a first-year fluke.
Right.
Russell Wilson, he's starting to try to become more of a pocket passer because people are starting to read the read option more, and he can't do what he did beginning of the league. He's starting to slowly trickle downward as we're seeing. I think
it's here.
I think that the biggest difference is what they do with their ability, because RG3 ran because he wanted to run. Russell Wilson runs because that's the last resort. He's running to find an open receiver.
But they still run a read option though. They did his first year.
But that's what I'm saying is that's the difference, and that's why Russell Wilson is still somewhat successful, because he's being able to use his abilities in a positive way.
But what you're seeing, though, is that group of class, Wilson, Kaepernick, and RG3, they slowly are starting to die out with that read option. That read option was good for the first 2 years. No one knew what was going on. Mm-hmm. It's not there anymore. Right. Now, with Mariota, you saw he hasn't run that much.
No, he hasn't.
And he's great at passing the ball. The problem with Mariota right now is, if we're going to talk about these kind of quarterbacks, and we're getting off from the Redskins topic completely, his offensive line is horrible there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's part of it there. But you're seeing some of these quarterbacks. I mean, Winston, he ran in college. I don't think he's ran once.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm really surprised.
And I think teams are really seeing what happened with RG3 and
Tyron Taylor. His runs are last option now.
Yeah,
and he's playing great.
Oh yeah.
So I just think that you have to give Kurt 2 more years and build around him, and then after those 2 years, if you don't like him, draft your quarterback, sign a free agent. But I just think build this. Don't straight go into another quarterback situation. Just build the team what needs to be done. Give them a good secondary. They need a secondary.
Yes.
Then build up a little bit more of the offensive line. But you know what? I think this offensive line, when it's healthy, it's set for the next couple of years. The only problem is Trent Williams is starting to get old.
He's old. Mm-hmm.
He's past, so you may have to look to replace him in the next couple of years, but don't do the next draft. Take this next draft next year, find a safety, find a cornerback, find a linebacker. Their linebackers are almost like they're non-existent. And what kills me is that I feel next year is you re-sign Junior Gillette.
I think you have to.
You re-signed Junior Gillette. You didn't get to see what he could do.
We were unlucky this past.
Bring him a secondary and a middle linebacker. They need a middle linebacker. And I tell you what, also he can do is that guy from Ohio State, that defensive end. I can't think of Joey something. You can almost turn him into like an outside linebacker type threat because your defensive line's set. You got Paya there. You got Terrence Knight, who no one knows if he's going to stay for one more year or not. He only signed the 1 year contract. So your defensive line's set. Linebackers, Preston Smith is going to develop. But the thing is, when you're pressing, you have Junior Gillette come back. Maybe you can move Gillette maybe to the middle. So maybe you can get your linebacker core set. But the defensive backs, you have Breedland, you have Culliver. That is a great way to start off. That is a great young core right there. Culliver's been elite, but that's great. You got to get some safety help. Because as I said,
we haven't had safeties
since Sean
years.
Taylor. This defense has not been the same since they lost Sean Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone can vouch. When Sean Taylor's death happened, the Redskins defense went from top-notch to just nothing ever again. They never had a true safety, and I don't know why they ignored that in the draft. Landry, the reason Landry was a bust after Taylor's death was they moved him to Taylor's position. That wasn't what he was. They made a mistake. They had a great tando, and they screwed up Landry. They should have kept Landry where he was at and drafted someone else who can mimic Sean Taylor. That's why this draft, I was hoping they were going to take a defensive back. Now, Sheriff, he's turning to a pretty good guard, and you know what? If he makes several Pro Bowls and all pros after this, you're not going to complain about drafting a guard that high. But they needed safety help. I was pushing for Landon Collins from Alabama to be drafted by this team in the second round. He was right there for them. They picked up Preston Smith. It wasn't bad. I mean, I don't know if Collins may have been drafted by the Giants, or I don't know for sure, but Collins was there. I mean, you got to get a defensive back. You got to get a safety. You don't get a safety in this draft. I don't know what you're thinking, but I think McCoolin, as you see, he's a defensive guy. He built up Seattle. He drafted Chancellor. He drafted Sherman. He hit on them. I mean, Sherman was told by Harbaugh when he was at Stanford that you ain't going to be an NFL player, and he really stuck it to Harbaugh when he played in the 49ers, didn't he? Stuck it to him.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, Harbaugh said you will not be an NFL draftee, and look what Sherman's done. So why do you think he was so much passion when he played the 49ers?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So you saw what he did when he was with 49ers. He built up that defense, went to Seattle, did the same thing. This guy is a defensive-minded guy, and this is what they needed. You saw when he brought in Culliver. This team needs an overload on defense, not the quarterback situation. Quarterback is the least of their worries right now. I think definitely. They can make what's really hurting the Redskins this year is it's going to be their schedule. They had a harsh schedule. I mean, there's nothing you can do when you're facing the Patriots and all this. It's not a soft schedule. They got screwed over.
Gonna be tough.
But I think what this team is, you stick with Kurt for 2 years. Don't give up. Don't waste another early draft pick on a quarterback that you're going to develop. Use those draft picks on your defense and develop around it. All right, that's all I got.
Basically what I'm excited to see is Deshaun Jackson come back. I mean, I really. He can take the top off any defense, and if Kirk Cousins can start connecting with him, I will completely change my mind.
And like I was saying before, if anything, he'll at least be, you'll have teams will have their number one corner on him, and the other guys who have been playing really well for the past couple of weeks, they'll continue to play well. At least they're playing well without him, and when he comes back, it'll just be an added, cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm happy that we're technically in the mix right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to see if he can develop and grow as a quarterback that can actually throw the ball to, someone who can run 40 yards in 4.5 seconds.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for our show today. I think it was a pretty good discussion today about the Redskins and everything. So before we head out, I'm going to let Paul do his thing.
Right. So let's see.
There we go.
What do I usually say? Oh, yeah, where they can find us. So you can find at www.shipesportstalk.com. You can find all the podcasts, past and new ones. You can also keep up to date with the YouTube. The live shows and all the old YouTube episodes, you'll find them on the webpage also. Also there, you'll get connected to the iTunes and the Stitcher links. so you can hear the podcast on the go on your phone or your iPad or whatever it's going to be. And if you're there, give us a rating and a review. That would help tremendously.
Yes, sir.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. Just search for Shipe Sports Talk and you'll find us. Subscribe. You'll get all the whenever the new shows come on, you'll get dinged. You'll get notification that we're all going live or that there's a new video that's just put up. What else? Facebook, Shipe Sports Talk. Pretty much all the
iTunes have been updated after what happened. What was going on? What was going on with that? Remember they weren't updated?
I don't know.
Well, they're all updated now, I believe.
Yeah, for the most part. Twitter at Shipe Sports Talk. And then you got Matt's Twitter, Shipe Sports Talk, and Christian's. You can tweet them.
Yes, sir. Chris been based.
And
I'll make one. I have to make one.
Now you have to. Just call it Chris Shipe Talk. I don't know.
Oh my
co-host.
God.
Chris the co-host. C2 Sports.
Yeah, basically.
And that's pretty much it. So just let us know how we're doing. Send in your questions, your comments.
Subscribe.
And we'll answer your questions on the air. Give you a shout out or something. I'm sure Matt and the fellas would love to do that.
I do have one
Yeah, why
question
not?
though. Did Kirk Cousins like the show?
I didn't get a chance to ask. He kept on saying.
Kurt, did you like the show?
He kept saying. He does like it.
I think he liked the show.
Yeah,
So next week, tune in again next week. We'll have our and one segment, our fantasy segment as always. Go over, preview the Redskins versus the Patriots. Hopefully it won't be a demolish. And so for myself, Paul, Chris, Christian, thank you for joining us. And everyone have a great weekend and enjoy the football. And Redskins fans, enjoy the bye week. It's the only week you won't lose.
See ya.
Nice.
Are you sure about that? We might lose.